Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole. You can find me on Instagram at Nicole Makes Plans. Today I want to do a September flip through in my bullet journal, so let's hop in. I'm using an A5 Leuchtturm hardcover dot grid notebook. So September, the monthly is here. It is very simple and kind of to the point. Basically the bullet journal method itself. I did start this in August, so I put August down here, the rest of September here, monthly to-dos up here, just to maybe show a little bit more of like the bullet journal in full. There's an index already set up in a Leuchtturm notebook, so I've been using that. Have I been referencing that much? Maybe not. I did start this notebook as a kind of like a junk journal, but I cut out the pages, which maybe I shouldn't have done, but it's held up so far. September monthly was here, or like future log, and then October, November, December. September monthly is here. And then this is a little bit of August to start out and some lists here and there. And I already did a August flip through, so you'll see that in a different video. And then to start September 1st is here. It was a Monday, it was Labor Day. I ended up going to my grandma's house to visit and play cards and that kind of thing. We watched King of the Hill that day on Hulu, and I didn't have work that day because it was Labor Day. On Tuesday, September 2nd, I had a short video call with my sister, and I was already back into budgeting a little bit, but I had like a more major day here. Maybe I set up my September budget or closed out my August budget or something like that. We watched an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia on Hulu. I made a list of upcoming movie releases, which I need to catch up a little bit. I had a list here about date ideas. On Wednesday, September 1st, we watched an episode of Smallville that had Adam Brody. On Tuesday, September 4th, my husband's dog was put down. Not fun. And then that day, there was also really bad traffic coming home from work. It usually takes me like 20 minutes to get home, but it took me an hour, so that was horrible. We watched an episode of Smallville. This one had Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which was weird to see him as like more of a teenager than like a little kid on Home Improvement. On Friday, September 5th, we watched the movie Longlegs, which is by Osgood Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins, who was in Psycho. I didn't love Longlegs, but I did think it was like interesting. I am a bit of a sucker of like movies or TV shows that have like an FBI agent investigating things. Like I do like X-Files, I like Silence of the Lambs, so like there were parts that I liked, but it was kind of bizarre. I do think Nick Cage was very interesting in it. On Saturday, September 6th, we went to the movie theater and we saw Conjuring Last Rites, which I think is the last Conjuring movie. I think it's the 4th or 5th one. Did not love it, but I do love Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Lorraine and Ed Warren, but it was kind of a weird movie. Went to my mom's house. My sister was there. We played cards. On Sunday, September 7th, I had a phone call with my friends. I also watched the VMAs, which you'll see a list that I made later. This was like a list of things I wanted to talk about on my phone call, so I did that. The second full week of September is here. Monday, September 8th, mostly just had work and stuff. This, I don't know why, but I kind of just made a list of things that happened during the VMAs. So that. On Tuesday, September 9th, we watched an episode of Scrubs. I was listening to Vodka Cranberry by Conan Gray, which I had heard at the VMAs, and I think he did a great job in his live performance, so I've been listening to that. September 10th was a Wednesday. We watched 2 episodes of 30 Rock. I also watched A Complete Unknown, which has Timothy Chalamet. It's a biopic about, oh my God, Bob Dylan. I don't love Bob Dylan, but what I know of him, I guess, I feel like this movie did make sense. He is kind of like an outsider and like ostracized in a lot of ways and like does his own thing, which is interesting. There was a song in this that I really liked. And like the other thing about like Bob Dylan is like I do think he is a great songwriter. I don't necessarily love when he sings his own songs. I tend to like covers of his songs, so I think that also kind of worked for me. So that. On Thursday, September 11th, I had a half day at work. I took off some time. Did some Happy Meal that day, so that was fun. On Friday, September 2nd, I had a conference to go to. We watched part of Conjuring 2, and it was really late, and I fell asleep. Did some more Happy Meal and Halloween cards that day. I started making a list of like favorite albums. This is not exhaustive, but it was a start. Keeping track of like how many Happy Meal things that I sent out of Halloween cards and I Love Plan stickers. If you want either of them, message me on Instagram or comment below and I'll figure out a way to get to you. But yeah, I just really like sending out mail. Saturday, September 13th, I went to my mom's. And then that we played cards at my mom's house and watched a football game. I watched Inherit the Wind, which I have never seen. It had Spencer Tracy, I believe. I liked it a lot. I don't know why I hadn't watched it sooner. I do tend to like kind of like court procedural movies, so like I really like 12 Angry Men as well. Would recommend. I liked it a lot. That evening we also watched Beetlejuice, and I love that movie. I made a list of things that make me happy. I don't know. I just put it in here. Sunday, September 14th, I mailed out some more cards. I watched the Emmys that night. I watched part of the movie Jawbreaker, which has some people in it that I can't remember. Judy Greer for sure. It was kind of a weird teen movie. But I think it was better than your average. I think it had an interesting premise, and I liked it quite a bit, actually. This is the 3rd full week of September here. Had a video call with my sister on Monday, September 15th. My allergies started getting bad that day, and honestly, they've been pretty bad since then. I take Zyrtec every day. Maybe it's not working anymore. I'm trying Claritin. It's very annoying. I hate my allergies. Tuesday, September 16th, I had a half day at work, kind of-ish, and kind of related to my allergies. They're really getting the best of me that day. That is the day Robert Redford passed away, which is sad. I really like his movies. I think not Breakfast at Tiffany's, my God. Barefoot in the Park is one of my favorites. It has Jane Fonda. I think they have fantastic chemistry. Yeah, super sad. Wednesday, September 17th, I had another half day at work. Just ran some errands and stuff. Thursday, September 18th, I met my friend at work for lunch. We talked about planners and other stuff. I caught part of documentary about Robert Redford that day, so that was nice to learn a little bit more about his life. Friday, September 19th, at work. So I work at a community college, and we have a lot of different programs. One of them is welding, and I got to do a welding activity. I was very scared going in. I thought for sure I would be clumsy and hurt myself and like burn myself on the welding tools, but it was great. The teacher was very good. And we got to like weld some stuff. I finished Jawbreaker that day, so like I started half of it one day, finished it that day. I watched part of Divorce American Style, which had Dick Van Dyke and I'm blanking on her name. That's okay. But I did not finish it. I didn't like it that much, tragically, even though Dick Van Dyke is great. I had a video call with my sister that day. I started Desperately Seeking Susan. I didn't finish that either. We watched Hot Ones on YouTube with Patrick Schwarzenegger and Keke Palmer. Saturday, September 20th, we went to the movie theater and we saw The Long Walk, which is based on a Stephen King book. I liked it a fair amount. It's not my favorite Stephen King, probably. I really like The Shining quite a bit, and I like, we actually just watched Christine, which I thought was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, but that's okay. We watched A Little Shop of Horrors, which I had seen before and I didn't like. This time, I really liked the first half. The second half gets really weird. Maybe I just need another rewatch, but that was fun. September 21st, I went to my grandma's house to play cards and stuff. That evening, there was a special on, I think it was ABC, and it was Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was very good. I don't know. I grew up listening to a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire. My dad would play it a lot. And I knew almost all the songs, which is very impressive to me. So they were very good. I watched part of the movie Jeremiah Johnson when I was at my grandma's house. It was just on in the background. I need to watch that for real. Fourth full week of September is here. I made a list of stuff to do on my days off or half days off. On Monday, the 22nd, I watched the movie The Way We Were that has Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand. I like this movie quite a bit. I don't love it, but I would say I am a bit of a sucker for a movie where the couple doesn't end up together, not to spoil it, but yeah, there's a lot of parts that I do like on the whole. I started reading Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I didn't actually finish that book and I returned it to the library, but I got to 11% on my Kindle that day. On Tuesday, September 2nd, I had a half day at work. I watched the movie Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I liked it more than I thought I would. I have not read the book, which is probably tragic. But I also like a good coming of age story. I got to 30% of Born a Crime, and we watched Last Meals on YouTube with Ken Jeong, so that was cool. So, on Wednesday, September 24th, I had another half day at work. I've been working through my Letterboxd app and actually looking at my previous planners and logging movies from before I started my Letterboxd account, and it's just tracking movies and reviews and ratings. Thursday, September 25th, I had another half day at work. I went to the bank and refinanced one of our cars, which felt very adult and a good thing to do. It was my half birthday that day. We watched Hot Ones with Kate McKinnon and Jason Bateman. Kate McKinnon is so funny, and I have a soft spot for Jason Bateman. When I was little, I would watch Little House on the Prairie, and he was on that. I really like Arrested Development. I just think he's really funny. On Friday the 26th, I was off of work that day. I saw 2 movies in theater, Freaker Friday and Dead of Winter. Freaker Friday was okay. I liked the original better. Dead of Winter, I did not like, even though I love Emma Thompson. I watched the movie Roman Holiday, and I think that is the first time I finished it. I think I watched half of it last year and got away from it for some reason, but it was really good. Gregory Peck is fantastic, and not Katharine Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn is very good. We watched Insidious that night, another movie with Patrick Wilson, which I like a lot. Saturday, September 27th, we watched the movie Jaws, which is good. We went to part of a soccer game at a college near us. I don't know a bunch about soccer. I didn't love it, but I'm glad we tried something different. Sunday, September 28th, I had a call with my sister, and then I watched Call Me By Your Name on Tubi, which is not the best way to watch it. There were so many commercials, but I really liked this movie a lot. It is the first time I saw it. I know it's a bit problematic with like their age difference, but I want to say at the heart of it, it's getting at something important, and I think Luca Guadagnino is a great director, so I've actually been watching a lot of his movies lately, so I'll get to that later. This was my October monthly, because October was starting in the coming week. On Monday, September 29th, I watched the movie Crybaby on Tubi. It's a John Waters movie. It has Johnny Depp. Parts of it were very funny, but overall it was kind of weird, but also that's kind of John Waters. I think he's an important and interesting guy. I made another list of stuff to do when I was taking time off work here and there. Tuesday, September 30th, I had a half day at work. I watched the movie Girl Interrupted, which I had never seen, on Tubi. It was pretty good. It's not my favorite. I think Angelina Jolie, I want to say she won an Oscar for that performance, and I think she was very good in it. And October is here, but that is my September flip through. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below if you have any questions about how I'm using this planner, or if you have any recommendations for other planners. Subscribe to my channel if you like plan with me videos and flip throughs, and hit the notification bell if you want to know the next time I post a video, because it's not always on the same day. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.